This morning, music mogul Russell Simmons stepping away from his businesses.
Russell Simmons, now the latest big name, left to defend himself.
9 women accused Simmons of a wide range of misconduct.
What did he do?
He me right up against the wall. Excuse my language. But that's what he did. I have to keep this secret.
Knock it off. I love you. I just don't want my friends attacked.
We just found out what really happened to Russell Simmons, and it might explain why he vanished to Bali and never came back. Once praised for building Def Jam and promoting peace, Simmons is now accused by over 20 women of sexual assault and
He showed up naked wearing a condom and tackled me to his bed while I screamed and fought and said no and cried.
Meanwhile, Diddy, his former peer in power and parties, is facing lawsuits for trafficking, abuse, and violence.
Cassie Ventura shocked the court today, testifying that a male escort hired to have sex with her while Sean P. Diddy Combs watched was this dude. He's the gunman caught on surveillance video in a shootout with cops.
But the most disturbing part, neither man has ever called the other out. As more victims come forward and more secrets spill, their silence feels less like coincidence and more like a code. Whatever they were protecting, it's starting to crack. Russell Simmons didn't just make music. His record label made rap music popular all over the world. He gave early chances to stars like Run DMC.
That's right, on time is tricky.
LL Cool J.
It's our first time together and I'm feeling kinda horny. Conventional methods of making love kinda bore me.
And the Beastie Boys.
You gotta fight for your right.
Russell also worked to make hip-hop respected by big companies. He showed the world that rap wasn't just music. It was a business that could make money and change culture. Diddy, on the other hand, started Bad Boy Records in the 1990s.
Play a game. Let's pretend for a second you don't know who I am and what I do. Let's just put it to the side.
He helped launch the careers of famous artists like the Notorious Big.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine.
Faith Evans. And Mace.
Niggas talking shit, they ought to quit. Unfortunate, they don't see a fault what I get. And those be the same ones walking while I with.
But Diddy did more than music. He created a clothing line called Sean John. He had a deal with Ciroc Vodka and became a billionaire. In the early 2000s, they were often seen together at big parties. These were not regular parties. They were high-class events in places like the Hamptons, on private yachts, or in beautiful islands. People dressed in designer clothes, drank expensive drinks, and networked with other rich and famous people. Russell and Diddy loved the spotlight. They were known for their fancy lifestyle.
I'm very narrow-minded in terms of the kinds of businesses I'm in. Although it's like from television to film to music to clothes, all of those things are from the same energy. You know, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, you know, it comes from young urban energy.
Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal, is no exception. Deal recently sat down for an interview with The Art of Dialogue. He not only claimed that Diddy belonged behind bars, but went on to allege that the Mogul learned his excessive behavior from the moguls that came before. Namely, Def Jam co-founder Russell Simmons and Uptown Records CEO Andre Harrell.
So him being up in a Diddy party, and it wasn't like that he wasn't partying, because the tape that I saw, he was dancing.
Gene Deal started his tirade off by laying the blame squarely at Diddy's feet. He doesn't hold anybody else accountable for Diddy's bad behavior other than the man himself. He did, however, point to the men who mentored Diddy during the early period of his career. Deal cited 3 luminaries within the industry in particular. You gotta realize he learned from Andre Harrell, the ex-bodyguard alleged. He learned from Russell Simmons. He learned from Clive Davis. Diddy worked under Harrell when he was an intern at Uptown Records in the early 1990s. It was Russell Simmons, however, who Deal alleged was the most notable influence. When those people are telling you that they were heavy into the drugs, Deal explained. They was heavy into beating women and doing things at that crazy stage. That's gonna make him think that he can get away with the same thing. The ex-bodyguard claimed that he saw similarly behavioral traits whenever he was at Simmons' home. "I'm not gonna say alleged cues, I saw that for my own self," he asserted. "It can make a man into a monster, and that's what it did."
He had it in him because he learned it from the beginning by seeing them and by being around them. And that's Russell Simmons, Andre Harrell now, being at those parties.
Russell, like Diddy, has experienced a fall from grace in recent years. Russell Simmons used to be one of the most respected names in the world of hip-hop.
This morning, music mogul Russell Simmons stepping away from his businesses.
Russell Simmons, now the latest big name, left to defend himself.
9 women accuse Simmons of a wide range of misconduct.
He helped create Def Jam Recordings, which became one of the biggest music labels in the world. Many famous rappers got their start because of him. Simmons was not just a businessman, he was a powerful figure in music, fashion, and television. He was seen as a leader in the Black community, and he often spoke about peace, love, and yoga. But everything changed when women started speaking out. In 2017, things took a dark turn when several women accused Simmons of assault. This shocked many people who once admired him. At first, Russell Simmons strongly denied the accusations. In 2018, he gave a statement to Rolling Stone magazine. He said he had never been violent or abusive toward women. He said the claims hurt him deeply because they were not true. Simmons also said all of his past relationships had been based on mutual agreement. He wanted people to believe he was a good man who had never done anything wrong. But despite what he said, more and more women began to come forward. These women said he had raped or assaulted them, and they told very painful and emotional stories.
What did he do? He raped me right up against the wall. Excuse my language. But that's what he did. I had to keep this secret.
As more women told their stories, Russell began to lose everything. He stepped down from his work at Def Jam and other business projects. His name was removed from many events and programs. People who once praised him started to turn away. The number of women accusing him grew quickly. More than 20 women eventually said he raped them, assaulted them, or made them feel uncomfortable. These stories went back many years, from the late 1980s to the early 2000s. Some women said he tried to touch them during business meetings. Others said he attacked them in private places like his home or a bathroom in a nightclub. One woman, Jennifer Jarosik, said she met Simmons in 2006 while working on a film about women's empowerment. She said Simmons offered to help with her movie. Later, in 2016, she went to his home in Beverly Hills. She said he asked for sex, and when she said no, he became angry. She said he pushed her onto the bed and raped her. She later filed a lawsuit asking for $5 million. She said the attack left her deeply hurt and confused. Simmons did not respond directly to her case, but his team continued to say he was innocent. Another woman, known only as Jane Doe, also filed a lawsuit. She said she met Simmons at a music event, and he invited her to an after-party at his hotel. But once they were alone, she said he took her to his room and raped her. She sued him for $10 million. Simmons again denied this story. He said he took multiple lie detector tests and passed them all. He said he never forced anyone to have sex with him. He said people were trying to destroy his reputation with lies. Sherry Hines, who was in a hip-hop group called Mercedes Ladies, also spoke out. She said Simmons raped her in his office in the early 1980s. She said she ran into him at a nightclub, and he invited her to his office to talk. But when they were alone, he pinned her down on a couch and raped her. She said she told her sister and a friend that same day. Years later, she wrote a novel with a similar story, showing how deeply the experience affected her. Another woman, Tony Sally, worked in radio and met Simmons while doing interviews. They went on a few dates, but she decided not to continue seeing him. She said Simmons invited her to a party at his apartment. But when she got there, it was just him. She said he attacked her, pushed her onto the bed, and tried to rape her. She fought back and eventually escaped. A year later, she saw him again at a music event. She said he grabbed her and chased her into a bathroom when she tried to run away. She said the memory haunted her for years. Tina Baker, a singer, said she was also attacked by Simmons. She had visited his apartment before to talk about music, but she said one night everything went wrong. She said he offered her a drink, and then he forced himself on her. She said she froze and couldn't move. She told several people about what happened, including a therapist and a former roommate. She said she was so traumatized that she didn't date or have sex with anyone for nearly 9 years after that night. She even returned to his apartment once more for a business meeting, and she said he exposed himself to her again. Even though Simmons denied all these stories, many people started to believe the women. Their stories were different in some ways, but very similar in others. Most of the women said Simmons used his power to control them. He invited them to talk about business, but then took advantage of them when they were alone. Some said he used kind words at first, offering help with their careers. But when they refused him, he became aggressive and violent. Simmons kept saying he was innocent, but the number of women telling similar stories made it hard for the public to ignore.
And the number of sexual partners and compromising positions I put myself in is beyond anybody's imagination.
In his statement to the media, Simmons said that some of the women were just trying to get money. He said one woman even tried to extort him for $500,000. He said she later admitted that her story wasn't true. Simmons also said some media outlets ignored key facts, like witness statements that didn't match the women's claims. He said he was being unfairly treated and judged before any proof was shown. He called it guilty by accusation, and he said it was wrong.
I took 9 lie detector tests. People don't know that. 9 separate. 7 from the chairman of the Polygraph Association. 1 for each of the serious accusations.
Simmons also talked about how he had tried to live a peaceful life. He said he believed in love and kindness. He had written books and done interviews about his spiritual journey. He practiced yoga and meditation. He said he was not perfect, but he never hurt anyone. Simmons said he left his businesses to avoid being a distraction. He said he wanted to help women and support their fight for respect. But he also said he would not accept blame for things he didn't do. He promised to keep fighting against what he called false stories.
When someone said, for instance, I was violent, one person said that. I've never been violent, took that.
In 2023 and 2024, several people filed lawsuits against Diddy. These lawsuits included claims of rape, trafficking, and physical abuse. A federal investigation was started to look into the accusations. In May 2024, a shocking video was released. It showed Diddy hitting and kicking Cassie, a singer he used to date, in a hotel hallway back in 2016. The video confirmed part of what Cassie had said in her lawsuit. Cassie, whose full name is Cassie Ventura, had filed a lawsuit against Diddy in late 2023. She said he abused her for years. She said he made her take drugs and forced her to have sex with other men while he filmed it.
Cassie Ventura shocked the court today, testifying that a male escort hired to have sex with her while Sean P. Diddy Combs watched was this dude. He's the gunman caught on surveillance video in a shootout with cops.
She said he often beat her in front of other people. She said it started when she was only 19 and signed with his music label. Diddy was 37 at the time. She said he used his power and fame to control her life completely. Even though the case was settled quickly out of court, Cassie's bravery inspired many other people to speak up. Cassie later posted a message online after the video was released. She said the support from others helped her feel stronger. She said the abuse had broken her down and changed who she was. She said it took a long time to heal, and she was still recovering. Her story helped open up a larger conversation about abuse, especially in the music industry. Many people now see that even powerful stars can do terrible things behind closed doors. Both Russell and Diddy were once admired for their work in music and business. They were seen as successful black men who made a big impact. But now, both face serious questions about how they treated women. The stories shared by their accusers are painful and disturbing. These women say they were used, hurt, and silenced for years. Their voices are finally being heard, and their courage has encouraged others to come forward.
He showed up naked wearing a condom and tackled me to his bed while I screamed and fought and said no and cried.
In the past, women were often afraid to speak out against famous men. They worried no one would believe them. But now, things are changing. Movements like #MeToo have helped shine a light on abuse and mistreatment. More people are listening, and more women are being believed. The cases of Simmons and Diddy show that fame and money can't protect someone forever. If people do wrong, the truth can still come out, even years later. After singer Cassie's lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs made headlines, another woman named Joy Dickerson also came forward with her own story. She filed a lawsuit saying that Diddy drugged her, sexually harassed and abused her, and even shared private videos of her without permission. Joy said this all happened back in 1991, when she was still a young psychology student at Syracuse University.
Joy Dickerson Neal. She claimed Combs sexually assaulted her in 1991 while she was on winter break from college. In her lawsuit, first filed in November of 2023,
she agreed to go on a date with Diddy because she had met him earlier while working on one of his music videos. She thought it would just be a regular dinner date, but things quickly took a dark turn. According to Joy, after dinner, Diddy kept pushing her to continue the night. He drove her to a recording studio. While she was in the car, Joy began to feel strange and dizzy. She says she could not stand or walk anymore. She believed she had been drugged because her body felt weak and she couldn't think clearly. She could not get out of the car. Diddy then drove her to another place. And this is where Joy says he sexually assaulted her while she was too weak to fight back or escape. She couldn't remember much of what happened, but she knew something terrible had been done to her. A few days after the assault, Joy was told by a male friend that Diddy had recorded the entire attack. Even worse, the friend said Diddy showed the video to several people, laughing and bragging about it. This made Joy feel deeply hurt and ashamed. She felt like she had no control over her body or her life anymore. The pain stayed with her for many years. She struggled to focus on her studies and her mental health got worse. It also affected her future job opportunities and her overall well-being. Like Cassie, Joy filed her lawsuit under the Adult Survivors Act, a law in New York that gave adults 1 year to come forward with old sexual abuse cases, even if they happened a long time ago.
the date Dickerson Neal filed this lawsuit, November 23, 2023, is important for two reasons. First, it came a week after Cassie Ventura, who spent years in a relationship with Sean Combs.
Not long after Joy's lawsuit, another woman named Liza Gardner also spoke out. She said Diddy raped her back in 1990. In her lawsuit, she also named singer Aaron Hall as one of the men who hurt her. Liza said that just days after the assault, Diddy choked her until she passed out. She thought she was going to die. Her case shows that Diddy may have hurt more women in similar ways for many years. Liza said she was only 16 years old at the time. She had traveled from North Carolina to New Jersey because her friends from the R&B group, Jodeci, named Devontae Swing and Dalvin DeGrate, invited her. She didn't know the trip would end in trauma.
This one concerns a woman named Liza Gardner, and she had sued Diddy and also singer and songwriter Aaron Hall, as well as several other corporate entities and Jane Does like MCA, UMG, Geffen Records.
The lawsuit said that Jodeci's housing was paid for by their record label, Uptown Records. This label worked under the bigger companies MCA and UMG. While in New York, Liza and her 15-year-old friend, Monica Case, went to a music event. There, they met Diddy and Aaron Hall. The lawsuit said the two men gave the girls alcohol and later gave them marijuana. The girls were too young to drink, but nobody stopped it. Later, they were taken to Aaron Hall's apartment in New Jersey. Liza says that's where Diddy raped her. She didn't know it at the time, but her friend Devontae Swing was in the room during the attack and did nothing to stop it. Because of that, he was added to the lawsuit as someone who helped the assault happen. The lawsuit also named big music companies like UMG Recordings and Universal Music Group. It claimed that these companies looked the other way or allowed this behavior to continue. They gave power and money to the people who were hurting others. It paints a picture of a music industry where young girls were not safe and powerful men could do whatever they wanted without punishment. Liza's story, like Joy's, talks about how hard it is for victims to speak up when the people who hurt them have money, fame, and strong legal teams. What's troubling is that these two men, Diddy and Simmons, never spoke out against each other. Even when the public started turning against them, they stayed silent. They never called each other out or tried to distance themselves. Some people now think this silence means they knew about each other's actions. Maybe they agreed not to speak about what they had seen or done. This silence has made many people suspicious, especially now that the truth is starting to come out. There are a few things that are raising red flags. For example, Russell left the United States when women began to speak out against him. He moved to Bali, far away from U.S. law enforcement.
Russell Simmons sold everything because his attorney said if these look-back windows come out, it's going to kill you. Russell sold all of his businesses, all of his homes, gave up everything and became a resident of Bali.
Now that Diddy is facing his own legal problems and federal raids, some people worry he might do the same thing. Another problem is how both men keep their personal lives hidden. They use strict legal papers called NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, to make sure people close to them don't talk. This has helped them keep secrets for years. Both men also became known for their wild parties. These events were full of models, celebrities, and sometimes even underage people. Some of the guests say they felt forced to be there or didn't know what would happen. People now believe these parties were more than just fun. They may have been part of something darker. Both Diddy and Simmons have used powerful lawyers to protect themselves and scare off victims. They've also had the same kinds of bodyguards, handlers, and friends who help them stay untouchable for a long time.
Got on a plane at 5:30 a.m. Go to this party. I think half the people there were butt naked. You would have loved it.
They even shared some of the same friends. One of them was Andre Harrell, a music executive who supported both men. He was known for throwing secretive, high-end parties. Russell's ex-wife, Kimora Lee Simmons, was also part of Diddy's social circle. It's strange that even with so much public scandal, neither Diddy nor Simmons has ever spoken against each other. This has led some people to wonder if they made a deal to protect one another. When these men got into trouble, they both tried to clean up their image. Russell started promoting yoga, meditation, and Buddhism. He acted like he had changed and wanted peace. Diddy began talking more about God, family, and Blaxcellence. But many people saw through it. They felt like these public moves were just tricks to cover up the truth. At one point, Russell tried to help Diddy. From Bali, he made a video telling people not to judge Diddy too harshly.
Knock it off. I love you. I just don't want my friends attacked.
He said Diddy had helped many people and didn't deserve hate, but the reaction was mostly negative. People thought Russell was not really trying to help Diddy. Instead, they felt he was trying to protect himself and the system that let men like them do bad things for years. Interestingly, Diddy didn't even thank Russell. He didn't mention the video or support Russell in return. That silence said a lot. It showed that their friendship may have been broken. It also made people more curious about what they may be hiding from the world. Their silence and strange friendship became a symbol of a bigger problem in hip-hop. For years, powerful men controlled everything and often got away with hurting others. Now, that system is being pulled apart and more secrets are coming out. Some people have even spread dark rumors. One rumor says that Diddy might see Russell Simmons as a threat. Maybe Russell knows too much about Diddy's parties, drug use, or other illegal things. If Russell ever spoke to the police, it could destroy Diddy's career. So some people think Diddy might try to stop Russell by force. Other rumors say that Diddy might want to silence Russell forever. If something bad happened to Russell in Bali, it would be hard to trace. Some say he could be poisoned or have an accident that was planned. These are just rumors, but they show how much fear and suspicion now surrounds these two men. There's even talk that Russell may not be as safe in Bali as people think. Some believe the music industry is covering things up, hiding the truth to protect Diddy and others. They think official stories and videos from Bali could be fake or carefully planned to make things look normal. Some people now look back at old interviews or social media posts from Diddy and Simmons and try to find hidden messages. For example, when Diddy once talked about loyalty and silence, some think he was warning others to stay quiet. Whether these things are true or not, people are beginning to question everything about the powerful men behind the music.